Brent is one of the most diverse boroughs in the country. Our latest census talks about how much ethnic diversity there is, racial diversity, demographic diversity, languages spoken, numbers over 100. In terms of the built environment, Brent is very much a borough of two halves. The North Circular cuts Brent right in the middle, the north of the borough being very much metro land, suburban in its feel, and bordering Harrow and Barnet and Ealing in the north. And in the south of the borough, we're practically zone 1 and 2, bordering Westminster and Camden in the south. And as a result, our housing stock and the architecture, the built environment reflects that nature. We have very much low rise in the north, very much high rise in the south, and our local plan is going to be reflecting our needs going forward. So 19 town centres in Brent, of which we're looking to intensify and densify through our local plan. We have 7 or 8 growth area opportunities, so Northwick Park in one public estate, Wembley, Alperton housing zones, South Kilburn, Church End and Neasden, where we've had recently adopted our SPDs, and we're currently working on a growth plan, master plan for Staples Corner, which is it's currently an industrial site, but we're looking to do co-location and co-design there, and we're working with residents and businesses to do that. Wembley's been a sort of development or a scheme or a master plan in action for the best part of 15 years. Previously to that, it was just the stadium and very much low-rise industrial sites. Our master plan, working with the bigger developer there, Quintain, we created a master plan that looked at building thousands of new homes, new industry, new retail, new facilities and infrastructure to the site. So the Euro 96 brought in updates to our travel infrastructure, Wembley Park Station, Wembley Central Station, Wembley Stadium Station and the various bus routes. But now we also have a designer outlet, we have a theatre, we have Box Park, as well as all the considerable number of housing that we've got there and improvements to the various amenity space. And we've got a brand new park being built there as well. And as a result, it's kick-started development from other landowners in the area to really kick-start and being our central kind of economic and regeneration hub in Brent. But increasingly what we're seeing in Wembley particularly is not just the sport. We want Wembley to be more than just a football stadium. So we have more, there are going to be more concerts and more cultural events happening. The developer Quintain actually have a cultural programme through the year, which is really important. The theatre, Troubadour, adds to that as well. So we've had Warhorse there, we've had Newsies, the Disney musical there. And so there's a lot more reason to come to Wembley other than football. We have a small area of the OPDC. The vast majority sits with Hammersmith and Fulham and Ealing Council, but where we do have interaction with it, our leader of the council sits on the board of the OPDC. Our chair of planning is also on the planning committee with the OPDC, and our planning officers work closely with the OPDC planning team to make sure that we're aligned in terms of kind of outcomes that we want for our residents who live within the OPDC area. What we're hoping to gain from the OPDC is actually opportunity and connections with our key areas like Harlesden, which is it's right next to the areas that are going to be regenerated as a result of the OPDC, the Wembley Wilson Station Junction, Wilton Junction Station, which is currently going through a huge amount of refurbishment with the Elizabeth Line and hopefully Crossrail and HS2, huge amount of engineering feat there, and hopefully we are able to gather the opportunities resulting as a result of those infrastructure improvements and the residential improvements to our communities here in Brent as well, particularly Harlesden. What we have tried to do over the last 7 years while I've been in post is really work with our communities before the planning system kicks into place with development. So our Church End master plan and our Neasden Station master plan, which are in the central of the borough, we've really engaged with residents before the master plan has even been adopted to make sure they're involved, understanding what their needs are. And actually in Church End, people are welcoming the regeneration, welcoming investment into the borough, where we wanted to see, we obviously lead on that. What we also welcome is developers who do the same wherever they are in the borough, that they engage with communities well before the planning application and the planning process starts, so residents aren't then surprised by things coming forward. Increasingly, we are a young borough. More and more of our residents don't own cars, so we're obviously having more and more developments which are car-free, which is great because obviously it contributes to our climate emergency targets and kind of air quality and active travel ambitions. But we're also really keen to make sure that we are contributing to the housing crisis. One thing we're very proud of is that last year Brent received the highest new homes bonus to nearly £8 million in the country, and that we were one of very few boroughs or very few authorities that actually gained more think to the tune of £5 million more than the year previously. And we've always been hitting our housing targets because we feel, and we very, very much believe that it's our moral duty as well as our kind of legal and planning duties to make sure that we're contributing to the housing crisis. We have 26,000 households on the housing waiting list, so we don't own all the land in Brent. We want to make sure our partners, developers, housing associations help address those. We reduce our temporary accommodation and waiting lists, but we're also making sure that we're contributing to the wider demand of supply for housing. Hugely important that we're able to do that, and we've, like I said earlier, we with Borough that we were the local authority that received the most new homes bonus in the country this year, to the tune of nearly £8 million, and we're very proud of that fact. Last 5 to 7 years, we have contributed and always hit our housing targets, even with our housing delivery test, and often gone beyond. We're a very responsive planning service, so we make sure that residents feel that they can contribute, take part in the planning process, but we expect developers to do that too, as well as our own schemes. South Kilburn is a very important estate regeneration scheme for us. A few years back we had an estate regen ballot. It was halfway through the scheme, and as part of obviously the grant system and our own manifesto commitments, we promised a ballot to the estate. They came out overwhelmingly, over 80% said they wanted the scheme to continue, and as a result we're actually one of the leading boroughs scheme, not just in terms of size and scale, but the approach that we take. So we guarantee as part of the landlord offer that people are able to, if they're overcrowded, we will make sure that they get their own place as well as enough room for their families. If they're over 18s, they'll get their own space as well. We make sure each family has a one-to-one meeting with a housing needs officer. They get to choose their own furnishings, their own style of the apartment, and making sure it caters for their needs. Secondly, we also most of the time are able to offer one decant only. Other estate regen schemes are decanting twice, maybe 3 times. We decant once only. That does mean that the scheme takes a little bit longer because we decant and then build and decant and then build, but it ensures that the community, which is one of the strengths of South Kilburn, remain intact. And whilst we offer residents the ability to move off the estate, the vast majority, nearly 90%, have chosen to stay on the estate, which is really, really a credit to what they want to see come forward. We're in the middle of the estate regen scheme. This current scheme that you see behind me is Unity Place, built by Telford Homes. We're using the grant system. We were able to purchase it ourselves. So the entire block now is council housing. It would have been private council, but we're very proud that this wonderful architecture is actually now all council housing. And that's one of the other things about South Kilburn, is that design is crucially important. It cannot be bog standard. We want our residents to be able to feel that they're proud of the place where they live in. And what we're going forward with is Countryside are building our current scheme, where we're having a new medical centre being built, a new civic square, market square being built. Coming forward will be a new school, a new public realm along Carton Vale, which we're waiting for homes infrastructure funding from. But the next iterations of South Kilburn, currently we break down the work on South Kilburn into various phases, and new developers come each time to tender for the contract, and whilst we design it, but we are actually looking and investigating to do one single developer option. So rather than having phase and different developers come forward or contractors come forward, we're going to be looking at investigating how we can actually do one single developer working across the rest of the schemes coming forward. So it's one developer, one kind of architectural team, and that way we can have consistency over various things. But look forward to that coming forward, because that's something that we're hopefully going out to the market in the next 6 months to 9 months. We'll be coming out with that. Every scheme coming from whether it's South Kilburn, our own, or private development, goes through the design review panel, and that's something that we're really proud of. Alongside that, we're a pilot borough for the design code for Staples Corner and our master plan there, so it's really important. And we've recently had our design awards, Brent Design Awards, where we're celebrating good design. And actually what we're really proud of, that a lot of the designs that won were council social housing, or public realm works, and actually that's a standard we want to set in Brent, that you come to Brent, we will work with you to create development and improve the built environment, but we want to see good design because our residents deserve that. We are a borough that celebrates our diversity in all its form, and difference is celebrated here. And whilst we have so many things in common, the differences make us stronger, and that's what we want to see in design, in the built environment. We don't want everything to be monochrome and monotonous. We want to see design, we want to see good quality design, we want to see difference in the design and quality so people can have some character. And I think one thing that we are looking to hopefully do within the built environment is also create the listed buildings of the future. What is good design now will be celebrated in 30, 40, 50 years, and that's what we want to see.
Thank you very much.
No problem.